So welcome to my allotment. Today I'm going to be talking about runner beans and beans and how you can keep them going throughout the year. A lot of people have not had a very good crop at the beginning of the year this year, I think due to the weather, and it's really easy to think that that's it, they're not going to be good, give up, disaster, calamity, it's a bad year. Well, mine didn't get off to a very good start. So I'm going to tell you what I've done to now get a really good crop. If you've not already subscribed to my channel, if you could please do so, because you'll get lots of helpful hints and tips all throughout the year from my home garden, my allotment and also my home kitchen. Now, like I said, at the beginning of the year, everything looked absolutely fantastic. There was loads of bloom, loads of leaves, they all looked amazing. I was convinced I was going to get an absolutely bumper crop. With a really dry weather hit, and I think it just kind of like, you know, burnt a lot of the flowers off, and they just didn't really come to anything. And a few weeks went on, and I thought, gosh, maybe I'm just not going to get the amount of beans that I thought I was going to get. But I know from experience, you know, the stuff's in the ground. You're not going to put anything else in. You haven't got time to put anything else in. You've just got to bear with and hope that it recovers. So you never ever give up is what you never give up. So what I did is I just kept on watering and I kept on feeding. Probably fed maybe a little bit more than I would normally feed. I've got my comfrey feed which I've put on it. If you haven't got that, you can get like a multi-purpose feed for beans. But whatever you do, you've got to keep doing what you would do even though they're not producing anything. And I know that it seems a little bit disheartening, but all the time they're alive and they're producing bloom, you've kind of got to keep going really until the frost. So as you can see, I'm getting lovely beans now. So, and what I would also say, another way of keeping your beans continually growing is you've got to keep harvesting them. You know, even if they're a bit of a funny shape, you know, you can't leave the odd shaped ones on there, because if you leave the odd shaped ones on there, they'll start, the beans inside will start to swell out. That will send a message to the plant, and then it won't produce anymore, because it will be then trying to produce seed rather than the lovely thin beans that you actually want to eat. So even if they seem a little bit oversized, they're not quite the shape that you want, you've just got to literally, I'm trying to find an example of a badly shaped one at the moment. Oh, there we go, perfect example. That one is probably never going to turn in to one like that, you know, because it's starting to swell out a little bit. So the minute you see a slightly odd shaped one, you have to pick literally everything off. You obviously don't pick them off when they're small, and they've obviously got promise to grow into a big bean. But if they start growing a little bit odd shaped, it's really important to pull all your beans off so that it produces nice healthy beans. And now I've actually got about 3 bagfuls in the freezer, and I'm giving them away to friends and family. So it's really worth carrying on with it. And at the end of the day, what else are you going to do? I'm just trying to find some more on here. You know, like that one is another example of one you could think, well, it's not a very nice shape, I don't want to eat it. But if you leave that on there, that's going to damage future lovely beans that are going to grow. Ones that you would leave is that one. That one's lovely shape, there's nothing wrong with it. I'll leave that on there to mature into a proper long bean. But ones that are starting to look a little bit disjointed again, ones like that. Another example, you know, they're not growing as perfectly as I would like them to grow. So like I say, they're never going to grow into a big long bean. So I'll have them on now, and they're all still perfectly good to eat. I've cut loads of these off, and they're not stringy. If when you're cutting them you're not sure whether they're stringy or not, I just cut a little slice out of one and I try it, and if it's stringy I don't put it in the pot, you know, and if it isn't, then I eat it. I've actually been quite surprised how many of them have actually been still lovely and tender, even if they've been a little bit of a funny shape. As soon as you put your knife through them, you can normally tell. But if in doubt, just try a tiny little piece to see whether it's good eating or not. Because what you don't want to do is you don't want to waste them. You want to get the most out of them that you possibly can do. Now, I hope this has helped. I hope that if you were thinking of giving up with your beans, you're not now going to give up. Mine will stay in until the frost. You know, I'm not gonna, you know, they'll carry on watering and look after these until they can't produce any more. But there's loads of bloom on them, so it's a whole different story to what we had a few weeks ago, where I really didn't have very high expectations for my beans, but I didn't give up. So I'd really love to hear how your beans are doing, any things that you do to keep your beans going, or any top tips. I would really love to hear from you.